Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that all of you have had an awesome week and I hope that you're going to have an even better weekend. Students, in this class we are looking at IELTS Writing Task 2. And this one will be about spending time with friends. It's actually a task 2 topic taken from one of our students that was sent to us, and it was one of the topics for a previous IELTS exam. Welcome Flong, hi Philo, Alexi, Yani, Chen, Ayaya, Jaya. Good to have all of you here with me today. This is a members chat class, everybody. So to join the chat, you need to be a member of our YouTube channel. And members, I strongly encourage you to participate and write this task 2 IELTS essay with me. Students, this lesson, these materials, these strategies are brought to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS, visit us there. For the general IELTS, check out gieltshelp.com. These are our websites. They power our live classes. If you are a regular student in our live classes, I highly recommend checking out these websites and joining the premium package. It doesn't cost a lot. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. Click that big red button that's just above my head there to join our premium IELTS package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. We are an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. We're an IELTS test registration center. You are in great hands with us. We have been helping students for nearly 20 years to pass the IELTS exam. We have the right strategies for you. Welcome, Joao. Students, for general IELTS, gieltshelp.com. Now, for the writing task student, general IELTS and academic IELTS is basically the same. If you can do if you can write a good essay for academic IELTS, you can definitely write a good essay for general IELTS for task 2. So for general IELTS, go to gieltshelp.com, click that big red button, and you are golden. When you click either of those red buttons, you can use this code over7 for an additional 10% discount on the package. The price is different in different countries. In some countries it's cheaper. I'm in Canada, of course it's more expensive here as we have a stronger economy than many other countries. So check out the cost in your local currency in your country, and again, it's just a one-time payment, so you're good to go. We have apps for you as well. The apps will link to your web account so you can learn on the go. Academic IELTS Help will link to aehelp.com. General IELTS Help will link to gieltshelp.com. Instagram, we have free strategies, vocabulary there for you, IELTS_AEHelp, GIELTS Help, and of course some fun videos there as well, some reels to keep you entertained on the go. If you have questions about IELTS English, don't hesitate to ask. My email is adrian@aehelp.com. The company email is admin@aehelp.com. AJ says very affordable. Thanks, AJ. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, is make it available for everyone. So yeah, Amazon's got our books, our exam books. If you like the paper hard copy books, definitely use that. Do not print the entire PDF from the website. It's probably cheaper with ink and paper to just order off of Amazon. So A helps academic IELTS, G helps general IELTS. So those are the Amazon books. Let me make this tiny touch smaller here so that all of the letters fit on the screen. There we go. That should be good. Okay. Streaming schedule. Today we have task 2 writing for members right now, this class. And then we will have listening parts 1 and part 2 for subscribers coming up after this. We always have that one subscriber class each week to encourage people to subscribe to the channel. It's free. You get notifications. It keeps you on track. It kind of forces you to study regularly, or at least encourages you to study regularly each week, each day. Having a regular study routine when you're getting ready for the IELTS exam, students, is extremely important. A very good step for improving your writing is having a routine, making sure to write at least 1 to 2 task 1, task 2 essays each week. I strongly recommend that. And then get feedback on that writing, make the corrections, and the following week write another task 1, write another task 2. And I promise that as long as you do that, you will improve by leaps and bounds within a couple of months, and you'll get a much better score. Okay. All right. Students, tomorrow we've got speaking part 2, speaking part 3. So check that out. Joao says, or is asking, do you think writing every day is a bit of an overkill? Philo, the expression is leaps and bounds. I'll write that up in a second, okay? Joao, no, not really. I mean, if you write a little bit each day, that's fine. In university, you're going to do that anyway. I don't know if there were any days where I didn't do at least some writing. And very importantly, Joao, making sure that you practice your touch typing is extremely important. There's some amazing touch typing teaching software out there these days, and it's really a great way to practice English, practice your touch typing, improve your spelling, all with the help of a software, 20 to 30 minutes each day. So I strongly recommend that. So it's a good question. Philo, the expression is leaps and bounds. I'll put that up here, okay? So yeah, if you catch an expression that I'm using while I'm lecturing, yeah, ask me. Absolutely. So this is what I said, Philo, in context. As long as you write at least one task 1 and task 2 essay each week, get feedback and make corrections, you will improve leaps and bounds in a matter of just a few months. Okay, so the expression is leaps and bounds, and as you can probably get from context, to change by leaps and bounds, or to improve by leaps and bounds, it means to greatly, okay, do. All right. Okay, students. Yeah, and take a page from my life. I didn't put effort into learning to touch type until I had to, and that was right as I was graduating university, and I got a job offer to work in a research laboratory doing developmental neuroscience research, and one of the criteria by the head researcher was that I have to be able to type at least 60 words per minute without looking at the keyboard, because I had to look at videos and transcribe behaviors. And then once I learned to touch type a bit better, I realized, oh boy, I should have learned this when I was like 3 years old. So learn to touch type. 20 minutes a day. Use, for example, rapid typing. It's free.com. That's what I used. Okay. Or there's an app that my 6-year-old daughter uses, and I thought it was a really good one too. And it's called Typeland, or the app. I believe it's called Typeland. You can check it out. And she's been practicing about 20 minutes a day, and her reading is getting better, her writing is getting amazing, and even her teacher was like, wow, what are you guys doing with her at home? She's incredible the way she's able to read and write in class. So, no big secret. That's what she does. Okay. So, of course, because as you're learning to touch type, you're also learning the vocabulary and the sentences and the grammar that the program is getting you to type. Okay. Sarah says, I use this app too. Really, Sarah? That's great. Yeah, it's a fun app. It's like a game, right? Like you earn badges and all that. So, yeah, Typeland is the app. Or is it Typing Land, Joel? Maybe. All right. Okay, so 20 minutes a day is all it takes. And you're good. And you're good. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, especially if you're doing the computer-based IELTS exam, right? The computer based IELTS exam. Okay, right? I don't even, so when people ask me, like they say, oh, should I do the paper-based IELTS exam or should I do the computer-based IELTS exam? I always answer that question with a question, and I'm like, can you touch type? And if they're like, no, I look at my fingers, then I'm like, well, you should do the paper-based exam. So, yeah, in my opinion, do the computer-based exam if you can touch type. Okay? All right. Sylviana says yes. And if you're a bit older and you're like, oh, I'm like 30, so I can't learn to touch type. No, you can learn it. We can all learn it. I learned it at 25, so we can all learn it. Okay, students, let's focus on IELTS Task 2. There's basically a very kind of standard strategy or system to do well for an essay question. In the IELTS Task 2 is a persuasive essay. It means you have to make an argument and convince your reader. Okay. So persuasive essays, well, let's talk about that. So I don't get into it too much, but in all the classes, but there are definitely some important strategies for effective persuasive essays. Okay. So, okay. You should keep this in mind. So what are important points to remember? Okay, and here I can ask you this another way. So what is important to argue effectively? So what do you think? What do we need to keep in mind if we want to argue effectively? Now, let's apply this question. So let's take this question here. Okay, so here's our task 2 for today. First step for you should always be to read and understand the question. So read it and understand it. Many people spend a great deal of their spare time socializing with their friends, work colleagues, and acquaintances. What are the advantages and disadvantages of this? Use explanations and examples from your own experience. Well, first, let's paraphrase this. Write at least 250 words, so minimum 250 words. Okay, IELTS always asks you to do that, minimum 250 for task completion. Let's paraphrase this question. So let's make sure that we understand it. Let's get some good thinking going in our heads. Let's get some vocabulary going in our heads. So let's paraphrase it, and then we'll talk a little bit about effective persuasive writing. Okay, so many people, a lot of individuals. Spend a great deal of time, invest much time, much of their free time, because it's spare time, so much of their free time. Socializing, interacting, right? Instead of socializing, interacting with their friends, with their pals, work colleagues, co-workers. There's a nice synonym there. And acquaintances and neighbors. It's a type of acquaintance. Acquaintance is somebody you know, but they're not necessarily your friend. Okay. What are the advantages and disadvantages? What are benefits and negatives of this? Okay. So there's just some quick paraphrasing, mostly just using synonyms in this case. I'm not using a lot of grammar paraphrasing or other. By the way, again, use the course, learn different kinds of paraphrasing at ahelp.com, glshelp.com, okay? Use explanations and examples. So provide clarity and give cases from your own life. This is the use explanations and examples from your own experience. So here's the original. Many people spend a great deal of their spare time socializing with their friends, work colleagues, and acquaintances. What are the advantages and disadvantages of this? Use explanations and examples from your own experience. And then here's my paraphrase. A lot of individuals invest much of their free time interacting with their pals, coworkers, neighbors. What are the benefits and negatives of this? Provide clarity and give cases from your own life. Okay, and then Joao has this paraphrase. Okay. So Joao says a great number of individuals devote a major portion of their free time fraternizing with their friends, peers, and acquaintances. What are the upsides and downsides of this? Some really nice paraphrasing, Joao, some nice vocabulary. I like the devote. So here's some nice words from Joao. Devote. Okay. Fraternizing. Watch the pronunciation here. Everybody repeat after me. Fraternizing. We don't pronounce that second R. Fraternizing. 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 Okay, fraternizing. Fraternizing means to socialize, basically. Yeah. In kind of a very friendly way, to socialize in a very friendly way. In university, you have what's called a frat house. That's where a group of students live together and eventually usually become friends as well. So it's called a frat house. Okay. Peers, of course, are your fellow students and friends. Okay. An age group, kind of like cohorts. Okay. And acquaintances are people that you know. Okay, so some nice vocabulary there. Good job, Joao. I like it. Thanks for joining us on your lunch, Domenico. That's dedication. I hope you're enjoying lunch and taking a moment. Okay, Fuang says a lot of individuals use most of their free time. I don't know if it's most, but much. It's hard to say most, Fuang. Interacting with their partners, coworkers, and acquaintances. Partners usually means like your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your wife, husband. So partners here is a little bit off, Fuang. We don't have that here. It's very important to see that separation, that we don't have family here. So peers is better, or friends, right? The original, if you're not sure. Philo, yeah, you can use the term pals. Absolutely. It's not necessarily informal. Pals is still an acceptable synonym for friends. Okay. I get what you're saying. It's a little bit less formal than friends for sure, but it's fine. Yeah, it's okay. All right, Chayani, when you're starting a sentence with mostly, use a comma. Okay, so mostly people give their free time to keep in touch and interact. Don't repeat, Chayani, just keep in touch with their buddies, work colleagues, and IELTS is a bit overkill here. You can just say colleagues, it makes sense, and acquaintances. Okay, what are the positives and negatives of this? No space between that letter and the question mark, okay? All right, good, Chayani, good. Let's see. Bogdan. A lot of individuals dedicate much of their free time to interact. Careful with gerunds, infinitives, Bogdan, to interact or interacting, but not both, okay? To interact with mates. Yeah, Australians love using that word mates for friends, especially. Mates, coworkers, and acquaintances. Good. What are the pros and cons of this? Yeah, okay, good. Watch that infinitive gerund confusion there. Okay, Bogdan? It's a mistake. Silviana, most people allocate much of their free time. Okay, be accurate with the paraphrasing. Much of their free time to enhance. Enhance is okay. I might say something like nurture their relationship with friends, coworkers, and acquaintances. What are the positives and negatives of this? Okay, good, students. So far, so good. So we've got the paraphrase, okay? We've done it many different ways. And as long as we pay attention to grammar and spelling, we're golden. Okay, so let's circle back to the question that I was asking. What are important points for an effective persuasive essay? Where do I have that? Up here somewhere, right? So here I asked, what is important to keep in mind for an effective argument? Some answers here, members. So if I want to argue effectively, what should I pay attention to? Give me your thoughts. Okay, you're writing a persuasive essay. Academic IELTS, it's always a strong persuasive essay. General IELTS Task 2, also usually a strong persuasive essay. It's no surprise. The reason being is that university, work, life requires most of us, if not all of us, to be able to write persuasively, whether it's an email, an essay paper, a research paper, a thesis paper, a business proposal for work. Persuasion, the ability to convince your reader, is an exceptionally important skill. The world is subjective. We are products of our beliefs, and these products of our beliefs are only as effective as our ability to persuade. It was the Greeks that, of course, focused on this a lot thousands of years ago when they came up with the concept of rhetoric and philosophy, right? And that holds true until this very, very day. Okay. So let's see. Fuang says we need to have clear explanations and examples. Yes. Okay. I'll circle back to that in a moment. AJ says kind of the same as Fuang with critical points, supportive explanations. Alexi says you have to provide well-structured arguments. Yes. So provide a well-structured argument. Okay. Prakash says strong arguments. Yes, and another way we can say that, Prakash, is affirmative language. So strong arguments. Yes. Okay. All right. So when we talk about clear explanations and examples, what are we talking about? So what makes an explanation? So let's take it one step further, Fuang, AJ. What makes an explanation clear or an example clear for the audience, for the reader? So how can we make it clear for them? Okay. So the idea is good. Now let's make it tangible. So let's make it real. Alexi says clear understanding of the topic. Yes, of course. So understanding the topic clearly is important. Okay. Philo, very good. Philo says use an example that can apply to anyone. yes, use logical explanations and popular examples. Why? Because what we're doing is we're creating sympathy and empathy. Right? So think about, okay, well, if I'm talking about an unhealthy diet, what should I use in as example? And then you might think of, well, something like a Big Mac meal from McDonald's. Okay, so hamburgers from McDonald's. Why? Because people can sympathize with that. Most of us, although we might find McDonald's delicious, we know that it's not really healthy. So we know that most people will be able to sympathize or empathize with this, right? Okay, well-structured argument. That means to have an introduction, body 1, body 2, conclusion, right? Okay. Affirmative language. So what does that mean, right? So that means, and this is a very common mistake that I see often with IELTS candidates, is use words like is, can, does, instead of modals like may, could, should, would. Okay? This is a very common mistake. So oftentimes IELTS candidates use may or could or should or would because they think that it's polite. They're like, oh, I'm being polite. Yes, but it's ineffective. Unfortunately, there's an irony to being polite sometimes, and the negative or the irony of it is that you're ineffective with your argument. If you're like, well, let me show you what I mean. Okay. So again, here's our question. Many people spend a great deal of time socializing with their friends. A lot of students will write like this. They say, they will do something like, when a person spends a lot of their free time socializing with friends, they might ignore other responsibilities like studying for exams. Okay? So this word weakens my argument. Okay? So what should I do? Okay? What should I do to make that just read better, to make it a more effective argument? So when a person spends a lot of their free time socializing with friends, they might ignore other responsibilities like studying for exams. What should I do here? Chrismar, nice to see you join our group of members. Welcome aboard. Send me an email so I can hook you up with those exclusive videos. Okay. So Fuang says they will ignore. Alexi says mostly forget about exams. Philo says just throw the word out. Philo, you get my thumbs up. Yeah. So you save some time, you save a word, right? It's very important on what you use those 250 words for. Okay. And you throw the word out. Do not use the word will. Okay. And there's a reason for that. And it'll be an interesting reason. See how tricky it is? So all we want to do is just throw the word out. Just don't use it. Notice the sentence like this. Okay. So when a person spends a lot of their free time socializing with friends, they ignore other responsibilities like studying for exams. Everybody see that? Okay. So do you see how just taking out that word makes it a stronger argument? Yes. Okay, so good job, Philo. Now, I'm not going to use the word will, and that's an interesting one. If you've ever sent your work, by the way, students, if you ever want to get some really detailed feedback, go to the website and use the Task 1 and Task 2 editing services, and you'll learn a lot of these through the editing process. Okay, so you just click on those buttons there. So why don't I want to use the word will? Okay, so let's take this example here, and there's a reason for that. So it's not by accident that I didn't approve the word will. Okay, so will is not good either. Why do we not use the word will? Anybody know that? So you could say it that way, and it is more affirmative, but it's not as good as this one. So the best sentence here is definitely this one here. Well, getting a little excited. It's this one here. Okay. Why not use? Okay, Alexi says it's the awkward use of tenses. Yes, and it's another important point to kick off today's lesson. Okay. So you should avoid in academic and professional writing especially. And it's not, girls, guys, it's not Adrian. It's not like I'm telling you this, okay? This is the rule in literature. In academic and professional writing, the rule is that the writer should avoid the use of the future participle will whenever possible. Why? So why do you think that's a rule? Sylviana says it's not strong enough. Not really. Philo says it gives some kind of uncertainty. You're getting there, Philo. It makes the statement irrelevant in the present is why. You should argue in such a way that your argument is relevant in the past, present, and future. Right? So here in this example, of course, when a person spends a lot of their free time socializing with friends, not just in the future they ignore responsibilities like studying for exams, but now they ignore other responsibilities like studying for exams, okay? So it's very important for you as the writer to make your argument, to make your content feel relevant presently. Okay? Does that make sense, everybody? So you really have to control your tenses. It matters how your audience perceives the time effect or the time feeling, sensation of your argument. Okay? Clear? So we want to keep our thoughts and our arguments in the present as much as possible. And by learning these, by the way, students, when you get to your university classes, especially those higher level classes in your third, fourth year masters, one day you might think of me and you might say, oh yeah, Adrian said that. My professor's saying the same information. Okay? So this is a rule in writing, to control your tense and to avoid future as much as possible. Okay? Looks like a lot of you got it. All right, fantastic. So again, let's go back to the original question and let's start putting our essay together. This time I'm going to spend a little bit less time on the planning aspect and a little bit more on the writing aspect. So we're going to be a little bit faster. And many of our members know that after we paraphrase, we want to identify the topic, we want to identify the controlling ideas, and then we want to think critically about those. So we want to think what, why, how about the topic and the controlling idea. So this time we're going to do it a little bit more like in the real exam, so not during practice, but in the real exam where most of this is happening in your head. I'll take some notes meanwhile. So here's the original question again. Okay, let me highlight it so you can see it clearly. So you should spend about 40 minutes on this task. Many people spend a great deal of their spare time socializing with their friends, work colleagues, and acquaintances. What are the advantages and disadvantages of this? Use explanations and examples from your own experience. Okay, great. So, what is the topic of this sentence? Let's put it here. So, or sorry, sentence of this question. So what's the topic of this question? Okay. So many people spend a great deal of their free time socializing with friends, acquaintances, coworkers. What is the topic? Okay. Alexi says the topic is dedicating spare time with friends. Philo says it's socializing with friends. Fuang says spending time with relationships in life. Alexi, Philo, Fuang, I disagree with all three of you in some sense. I don't think either of you has identified it accurately. Keep thinking. Okay. All right. Chayani says giving time and social life. Bogdan says upsides and downsides of socializing. No. Okay, I think the topic is the way to spend free time. Now, I'm being a little bit overly descriptive here. If you were to really ask me, I would just say free time activity. Okay. All right. Yes, Raquea, very good. Using spare time. Yes, how we use our spare time, right? That's basically what this topic is focusing on, okay? You'll see in a moment why here, okay? But when I read this question, I think, okay, so basically this topic is saying like, all right, that's what people do and what's the negatives and benefits of this. So it's like, okay, free time, the investment of free time, right? Okay, the controlling idea. Extremely important, students, to have clarity here, right? All right, the controlling idea then must be, so again, like I said, I'm going to go through this a little bit faster, like the real exam scenario. So the controlling idea or ideas must be the benefits of spending free time with friends and coworkers. I'm not going to worry about acquaintances because coworkers are kind of like acquaintances, and the negatives of spending free time with friends and coworkers. Okay, good. So let's quickly identify a couple of points of benefits. Okay. So what are the benefits? Just start listing a few points of the benefits of spending time with friends and coworkers. What are the benefits? Okay, and then of course the negatives. And this should be pretty quick. So you should be thinking what, why, how here. Okay. Fuang says boost self-confidence or boost confidence. Self-esteem, yes. Okay, so mental health. Self-esteem is like our self-worth, absolutely. Sharing knowledge, very good, Raquera. Okay. All right, good. I like it. What are the negatives? Okay. What are the negatives? So let's focus on that. AJ says, helps to build our career. Yep, that's part of sharing knowledge. Yep. Alexi says, chance to forget about your tasks. Alexi, I want to caution you, avoid the word your, okay? So stop using the word you and your in your thought pattern. It's going to help you improve even faster, okay? So just use know your, okay? So forget other tasks or forget about other tasks. So think in the third person when you're planning, okay? All right. Ignore other responsibilities. Okay, such as study or maybe finances. Sure. What else? Yeah, exactly, Raquel. So distraction from studies or from work, from making money. Yes, definitely. Okay. Or even other interests, right? Your hobbies. And what else? There's an important one here, and hopefully many of you realize this. The question lists 3 groups of people, but doesn't list one very important group of people. And if you are looking at this question critically, Prakash, Yani, Philo, Raquea, Chrismar, you'll notice it. What word is missing from this list of individuals? Many people spend a great deal of their time socializing with friends, work colleagues, and acquaintances. But there's one group here that's not mentioned that should be very important. Fuang, Philo, Bogdan, very good. Family, right? And we know that that happens. Some individuals, they get really caught up with their friends and they don't spend time with their family. And especially that can be problematic if that person is a parent and they have a spouse and children, right? So not enough time spent with family. If you catch that, you're going to have a very good point for your argument, okay? All right, so now depending on which you want to emphasize, right, decides the structure of your essay. So introductory paragraph, we'll have a hook, we'll have background, we'll have a thesis, right? And then we're going to have body paragraph 1. That's going to have a topic sentence. It's going to have an explanation. It's going to have an example. It's going to have a connecting sentence. Okay, and then we're going to have body paragraph 2, which is basically a copy of body 1 as far as structure is concerned. The only difference in body 2, you don't really need that connecting sentence. And then you have a conclusion. So this is the standard common structure of an essay. Okay. It's not the only one, by the way, students. As you get into more advanced writing, there are different essay structures, but for the IELTS, this is the only one you need to practice and follow, okay? Once you get into advanced writing, if you're pursuing literature and so on, you'll learn some more. Conclusion, you have your points restated, argument strengthened, and then you have a take-home message. Okay? All right, so these are basically the 4 paragraphs of your essay. Introduction, body 1, body 2, conclusion. Now, before you start writing the introduction, it's very important that you decide on your argument. So you decide whether to emphasize the benefits more or the negatives more. Let's say that I want to emphasize the negatives more, okay? Then if I want to emphasize, means I want that to be stronger, the negatives more in this case, then where should that paragraph go? Should that paragraph be body paragraph 2 or should it be body paragraph 1? Okay, one more time, let me ask you. If I want to emphasize the negatives more than the benefits of spending a lot of time socializing with friends, should I write that as body 1 or body 2? Okay, Raquea says body 2. Lexi says first one. Bogdan says body 2. Silviana says 1. AJ says 2. Chayani says 2. Fuang says 2. I'm happy to see that 2 is starting to be more popular. Prakash says 72, but I think what you're doing there, Prakash, is typing 2. Yep. Yeah, second one. So negatives should come here. So body 2. It's what I want to leave the author with. So body 2. Okay. So as I'm writing it, we'll be like, however, there are definitely multiple disadvantages to investing too much time into friends and coworkers, ignoring bonds with family and responsibilities such as continuing studies or making more money, right? So that would become my second body paragraph, okay? And that's what I'm going to do. So for this essay example, I'm going to write that as body 2. Okay, students, let's actually start to write these paragraphs. So we'll put the introduction together first, okay, based on our discussion so far. And then we'll look at body 1, body 2. And I want you to take the lead on this, students. So I want you to start writing. So the first step, of course, is to write the hook. Okay, it's an interesting fact that introduces the topic. Okay, and be specific. So that's your hook. Now, I have heard from some people that they say, well, my teacher said the hook is not important in IELTS. Yes, it is. If you want to get a good band score, you need a hook. It's not because your teacher said it. It's not because I said it. It's because it's standard English literature for persuasive essay writing. And task 2, as I mentioned, is a persuasive essay. I've spoken to many examiners and markers, and they say, yes, we like to see a hook in good high band essays. So write a hook, okay? So write an interesting fact about spending free time, okay? Okay. There. I like it even more. Okay, here's my hook. The way a person chooses to spend their free time has a drastic impact on their life quality. Okay. All right, Domenico, welcome back. Just in time to get writing with the hook. So here, the hook, again, is on the topic. The topic is free time, right? And here, I'm kind of making an argument, but it is a fact. I think most people will just see this as kind of a fact rather than an argument. It's logical. It's clear. By the time we reach adulthood, I think we all understand this fact to be true. And it's good to be reminded of this fact every now and then, right? The choices that we make, the way we choose to spend our free time has a massive impact on our life satisfaction, right? So here I wrote, the way a person chooses to spend their free time has a drastic impact on their life quality. All right, good. So now I'm ready for the background. Students, I want you to write as well, okay? And if you're not writing as fast as me, that's okay. Okay? As long as you write it. When you're writing in the chat, members, you can simply just do like an H for the hook, okay, like that. And for the background, you can just simply do a B like this with a colon, and then I know that's what you're writing. So I'm just going to keep moving along at a fairly steady pace, so follow with me, okay? And write your own sentences. I will take a look at them as I see them come up in the chat, okay? So the background is definition and importance of the topic, okay? So what does it mean and why is it important? These are the questions that you want to consider when you're thinking about this, okay? So what is the definition? Well, it's when people finish work, right? So when people are done their 8-hour shift at work or at school, they often spend the remainder of the day hanging out with friends and coworkers, socializing. Okay? All right. So that's my definition. Notice how I'm using numbers as quickly as I can just to give clarity. Remember what we said about effective persuasive essays? We want to create empathy and sympathy with the reader, right? So if the reader's like, oh yeah, I kind of do that sometimes. Like I finish my day at school or at work, my 8 hours, and then I go and I meet up with a friend for coffee, and then I hang out with one of my coworkers, or, you know, so we want that empathy, right? Okay. And then, of course, the importance. So these interactions shape much of life, right? That's why it's important, because the way we interact with our coworkers, with our friends, it shapes our lives. So here I'm just going to do a really quick little simple sentence like that for the importance, and then I can get into the thesis, okay? If somebody who's watching does not know what a thesis statement is, again, I highly recommend that you go to our web course, which is aehelp.com. You click that big red button, you join the premium package, you go to your My Student account, you go to your interactive course, you go in the writing section, and you click there and you learn the importance of writing and the correct way to write an essay with the thesis, okay? It will be described for you in great detail. So students, I know a lot of you have access. Make sure you go through all of these slides, okay? Very, very important. Here you see the structure of the hook, the background, the thesis, okay? All right, and it's explained to you in great detail there. All right, I'm not going to go into the thesis in too much detail right now, but it's extremely important that you understand that, okay? Thanks, Chen, for putting the website up in the chat for everybody. Okay, so the thesis, I'm just going to take that from what I've already developed here in my thinking about the topic, the benefits, and the negatives. So although the benefits of, let's use that nice word that was given to us by Bogdan, or was it Alexei? I don't know. Benefits of fraternizing with acquaintances. Acquaintances actually does kind of include the concept of coworkers and friends, so it's a good word to use here to be concise. Okay. Although the benefits of fraternizing with acquaintances helps with information and self-esteem, it also costs time with family and attention to responsibilities. Okay, so there is my thesis, and my thesis here has the two parts. So body paragraph 1, information and self-esteem, and costing time with family and attention to responsibilities is my body paragraph 2. Okay, so body 1, body 2. All right. paying attention to parallel grammar. Okay, like I said, members, I want you to write, and I have been, as you maybe saw my eyeballs there shifting around. I was looking at the chat also there, okay? So, Fuang, let's take a look at your hook. Fuang, at first eye glance, it's looking a bit long. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll tell you the truth. It's looking a bit long. The hook should be short as possible, even shorter than mine, ideally. Okay, so let's have a look at it, Fuang. Fuang says, life is short, time is fast, no reply, no rewind, so more and more people prefer to spend most of their free time with their cohorts to enjoy happiness that makes a significant effect on. Fuang, it's like you're writing your whole introduction in one sentence. Okay? Stop with cohorts, and then enjoying happiness and significant effect on. Keep that for background and thesis, okay? So life is short, time is fast, no reply, no rewind. I'm not sure where you got that from, but it's kind of interesting. It catches my attention, Fuang, so it's good. More and more people prefer to spend most of their free time with their cohorts. Stop there, okay? Take this part out. Don't overkill on the hook, okay? All right, so let's pause it there, right, Fuang? Chayani has this for the hook. People using spare time in their daily basis has a significant effect in their habits. Idea is good, Yanni. Grammar is bad. You must spend time with grammar. Okay, Yanni? It's the most important practice for you to improve your writing and your speaking, because you've got a lot of vocabulary, you've got great thinking, you need to express it through clear grammar. So, Yanni, I want you to schedule grammar lessons for yourself throughout the week, okay? And using the internet, using software, using grammar books, start with the basics and build up all the way to the complex compound grammar forms and passive, active voice. So lots of focus on grammar, okay? And then test yourself, right? So there's a lot of technology out there that can help you these days with grammar, okay? So let me try to fix this, Yanni. People using spare time in their daily basis. The way people use their spare time on a daily basis has a significant effect on their habits. Try to do lots of practice, Yanni, with prepositions: in, at, on, when, and how to use them, okay? All right, thumbs up. I see you got that, okay? So this is better, Yanni. So the way people use their spare time on a daily basis has a significant effect on their habits. Yes, habits, of course, are daily routines. Has a significant effect on their surroundings. I would put that instead. Surroundings being like family, work, career. Okay. All right. I'm waiting for the background and the hooks and the thesis as well, students. So don't forget that. And here is Alexi. Alexi writes, the way individuals prefer to spend their free time has a strong impact on their mental health. Yes, and not just their mental health. You can go with that, Alexi. You could go with that. On their overall life satisfaction. Okay, mental health, but also physical health, right? If I choose to hang out with my friends all the time instead of going for a 30-minute jog or going to the gym for an hour a few times a week, it's going to impact my physical health as well, right? So it's a good start, Alexi. Just keep your mind open. Think about, different variations of of that scenario or that situation. Okay. Bogdan writes this. The way individuals prefer to, or sorry, that's Alexi still. Bogdan, I don't know why that didn't copy. Here we go. Let's do that one more time. Bogdan says, socialization is one of the most important aspects of life. That's not a very good hook, Bogdan. You need to rewrite that. Why? What's the problem with this, Bogdan? If you were to do this in the IELTS exam with this question, there's a chance that you're going to get a very low mark for your writing section. Why? What happened? What's going on? Okay. While you think about that, Bogdan, we'll take a look at what Chrismar has written here. Okay. Chrismar writes, when people engage in activities that they enjoy, they experience positive emotions and a sense of fulfillment, which can contribute to their overall happiness and well-being. Chrismar, you almost have the exact same mistake as Bogdan, just in a much longer way. Okay. What's going on, everybody? Why is Bogdan and Chrismar risking a low score for this essay? This is a very important question. And here's Silviana's response in the meantime. Silviana writes, nowadays, the way people invest their spare time has made a great impact on their life and become essential. Okay, Silviana, I wouldn't say nowadays because I think it's true even in the past and it will be true in the future as well. So the way people invest their spare time makes a great impact on their life, and just stop there. Becomes essential is understood by great impact on life. So Silviana, this is the more accurate and simpler way or concise way to express this. The way people invest their spare time makes a great impact on their life. Yeah, and then it's a very effective hook. It's very nice. Okay. Yeah, Fuang, I think you're on the right track here. So Fuang says it's a bit off topic. Okay, students, have a look at these three. Okay, so this will drive home this point. Socialization is one of the most important aspects of life. When people engage in activities that they enjoy, they experience positive emotions and a sense of fulfillment. The way people invest their spare time makes a great impact on their life. Okay, so look at it from the perspective of the reader. Okay, you always have to consider your reader. A good essay, here's an interesting way to test your writing. A good essay, the reader should not need to see the question. They should understand the question from your essay. Okay, everybody got that? So when an essay is well written, the reader can infer the question based on the information from the essay. Okay, so you can basically, like your reader can basically say, oh, okay, this essay is going to answer the question of. Okay, now if you look at these three, so you look at Bogdan, Chrismar, and Silviana, you can get what I'm saying. So socialization is one of the most important aspects of life. What is this essay going to be about? So forget the question, right? But you're the reader. All you have is this hook. What is this essay going to be about? Okay, what is this essay going to be about? What's the topic? So what is this essay going to focus on? Or I should say, what topic is this going to focus on? You should be able to answer me in one word here from this hook that Bogdan has given. Philo says the importance of socialization. Yeah, Philo, or even more simply put, it's socialization, right? Okay. Here's the next one, Chrismar. Okay. When people engage in activities that they enjoy, they experience positive emotions. What is this essay going to be about? So what's the focus of that essay? Okay. So what is the focus of that essay? It's extremely important that when you're in the IELTS exam, you check yourself, because if you're going off topic, if you're writing about the wrong ideas, there's absolutely no way that you're going to get a good band score. Okay? Fuang says it's the role of activities that they enjoy. Yeah, so enjoyable activities, right? So it's this here. Welcome, Romelia. Okay. All right, and then we have Silviana. The way people invest their spare time makes a great impact on their life. What's the focus of this essay? Right? And here, I'm sure many of you are thinking, well, Adrian, come on now. We can see where you're going with this. People invest their spare time, right? So the focus here is spare time. And as we discussed, the topic of this Task 2 question is focusing really on spare time, okay? It's not activities that they enjoy, and it's not so much socialization, but it's the use of spare time, all right? Does everybody see that? So Bogdan, Chrismar, do you see why it's so important that your hook is on the topic of the question? Yes? Okay. Very important. Introduction, hook, the right background, the right thesis is very, very important. Okay? Is everybody clear on that? There's not much to do if you're not. Okay? If you're not clear on that, then you need to really stop for a moment and think, because without being on the right topic, English becomes secondary. Okay? Bogdan says, okay, got it. Alexi says, got it. Chrismar, yes. Okay, noted, clear, good. Okay, all right, so be really careful about that. All right, good. Okay, and so again, here's the introduction. Now, one really good test of accuracy is when you finish your introductory paragraph, and even in the actual IELTS exam, when you're sitting there in that 40-minute time, it might be worth the extra 1 to 2 minutes to do this, where you read the original question. You should spend about 40 minutes on this task. Many people spend a great deal of their spare time socializing with friends, work colleagues, and acquaintances. What are the advantages and disadvantages of this? Use explanations and examples from your own experience, and then reread your introduction and think, okay, does that make sense? Is that relevant? Is that clear? Right? So here's the introduction. The way a person chooses to spend their free time has a drastic impact on their life quality. When people are done their 8-hour shift at work or at school, they often spend the remainder of the day hanging out with friends and coworkers, socializing. These interactions shape much of life. Although the benefits of fraternizing with acquaintances help with information and self-esteem, it also costs time with family and attention to responsibilities. Body paragraph 1, okay? Starts with a topic sentence. The topic sentence is a more detailed definition of the first point. So here it's getting information and self-esteem, okay? So indeed, when a person meets up with coworkers for some fun time or for good laughs, okay? Why do I change fun time to good laugh? Because I'm visualizing this, right? So I'm visualizing myself meeting up with my coworker and then, ha ha ha, did you hear what happened with, oh yes, ha ha ha. Now, in my sad life as a YouTube teacher, I don't have any coworkers. I don't meet with, no, it's not true. There are some very amazing people who work with me, not in my office, and I do meet with them through Zoom. I certainly do meet with friends, so I have some good laughs, but the life of a YouTuber is very lonely. You are my friends. All of you are my friends. But I can still visualize. I can still picture, and I can think about movies, right? Somebody at the office going out with their office coworker and like, oh, ha, ha, what a lovely glass of wine, and how that happened yesterday, right? Alexi says, yes, we are. I know, Alexi, you're there for me. I can feel you out there. I can feel you out there. Okay, so indeed, when a person meets up with coworkers for a good laugh, for good laughs and discussion, they can learn valuable information and feel happy. Why not, right? So information and self-esteem, it's all there in greater definition with the topic sentence. And then I need an explanation. So like, what are we talking about here? Right? So explain this, right? Often, people invite their friends out for a cup of tea to discuss the latest news and trends and get some investment ideas or learn better ways to parent their children. And this is a great use of free time. Right? Okay, so that's my explanation of this concept of what's going on, right? And then an example. All right. Here I'm looking at my introductory paragraph, and I have to really be aware of the author's voice that I'm using. Students, in my essay so far, what voice of the author am I using? First, second, or third person author's voice? Again, everybody, if you are not clear on what first, second, third person of the author's voice means, that means you have to learn that. Again, it's in your course at aehelp.com. It's in that writing section. In this class, I'm not digressing into such details, but it's very important that you need to know that. Okay? All right. Philo says it's a third person voice. Alexi says third, I presume. Yeah, you're right. Okay, you don't see the words I or you anywhere. If you saw the words I, me, my, myself, that would be first person voice because it's the personal opinion of the author. If you were to see the words you, yours, it would be second person voice. And because we don't see those, it's third person voice. So I've chosen to go with the third person omnipotent voice. It means the general voice of truth. Okay. So here I chose the third person voice. I could have gone with the first. The question says use examples from your own experience, right? But it doesn't ask me what do you think are the advantages, disadvantages, and I think that in this case, the advantages and disadvantages are quite objective instead of subjective. So obviously, these can happen for pretty much any person, these benefits and negatives. So I don't feel like I need my personal voice. I think I can just use the third person voice. Does that make sense? A lot of people get confused about what voice you should use in task 2 of IELTS. You can use the first person or the third person, never use the second person voice. It depends on the question and how the question is asked, okay? If it's asking for your personal opinion, you should use the first person. If it's a very subjective topic, you should use the first person. If it's an objective topic, if it's not asking for your opinion, then use the third person, okay? So, but never mix voices, right? Okay. All right, so example. Indeed. I think I used Indeed already, so let's not do that. Let's just get right into it. Every day, millions of office workers meet up for several hours each day to get tips on the latest stock investments like Tesla's growth and stand to make thousands of dollars through such networking. Okay, so there's an example, and notice how my example again uses more of that quantification, right? Numbers. And numbers, of course, are very powerful in your persuasive essays because remember what we said, one of the effective tools for persuasive essays is to create empathy or sympathy with our reader, with our audience. And of course, numbers are extremely useful for sympathy or empathy because numbers are the universal language, right? We call mathematics and numbers the universal language, okay? And believe it or not, it's not English. Say what? I thought it was English. No, it's not English. English is the global language, but the universal language is math. And so math is extremely powerful for creating empathy and sympathy, right? Most of us know that millions of office workers will meet up for several hours a day to get tips on different pieces of information like stock investing, like talking about Tesla. We all talk about Elon Musk. Yes, I did. I just dropped an EM in this live class as well. And then they stand to make thousands of dollars through such networking, right? Okay. However, so here's the connecting sentence. However, there is a cost to such investment of free time. Okay. All right. I thought that was funny. Yeah, there's just so much Elon Musk drops on YouTube. Maybe that's why we got all these views, because we keep dropping Elon Musk. No, I'm just kidding. So here we go. This is my body paragraph, okay? Indeed, when a person meets up with coworkers for good laughs and discussion, they can learn valuable information and feel happy. Often people invite their friends out for a cup of coffee to discuss the latest news and trends and get some investment ideas or learn better ways to parent their children. And this is a great use of free time. Should be just 2 words. Every day, millions of office workers meet up for several hours. Let's use the word daily to get tips on the latest stock investments like Tesla, Tesla's growth, like Tesla, and stand to make thousands of dollars through such networking. However, there is a cost to such investment of free time. And notice how here I use the word investment twice, investment of free time, and stock investments like Tesla. Here, my word repetition is purposeful. It's not by accident, because we invest into stocks, but we also invest our free time. And I'm purposefully repeating the same word here for the reader so that they recognize that, oh, both are a kind of investment. While one investment might be fruitful, the other one might be harmful, right? So Ironic. All right. So this use of investment is not accidental. Otherwise, you should avoid word repetition. Okay. So word repetition should be avoided in your writing unless you've got a clever kind of concept like this going on. Okay. Okay. So then we get into body paragraph 2. Everybody's following with me? You're all good? Yes? I have kind of this burning desire to finish the essay for you today, so that's why I'm moving a little bit faster. Members, what do you think? Are you happy with the pace of this class today and the amount of feedback that you're getting? Do let me know. So I value your opinion, and it helps me to shape the way that I teach you these classes. So if you'd like me to go slower, let me know. If you'd like me to go faster, let me know. If you prefer me to look at your writing more, let me know. Of course, that comes at a cost. Then I can't necessarily finish the essay. If you want me to finish the essay, and that's more important for you, then let me know. Say, Adrian, I'd rather you just finish the essay than check my writing. Okay, so you let me know what works for you. It's going to be different for different people. My goal is to satisfy the majority. Okay, so you let me know. All right. Okay, you let me know. Fuang says, always over the moon to get feedback. So Fuang, for me, that means that you prefer feedback rather than the importance of finishing the essay. I can't do it all, right? I mean, we could have 2-3 hour classes, but I think that would be too much for many people, right? That's why I try to stick to about 90 minutes, as you've noticed, for the classes, okay? All right, I'm going to keep moving along here with the second body paragraph. And notice, students, when you have a clear idea and a clear structure for your essay, you can talk about other topics, you can discuss with other people, and then you can just come back and keep writing because you know exactly what you're going to write based on that thesis sentence. Here's the cost of time with family and attention to responsibilities. So certainly, with only 24 hours in a day, time spent with peers takes time away from family and other activities, right? Okay. Alexi says, personally for me, you are not so fast to be slower. Okay, good. Philo says, I think the pace is good since we can finish the essay. Okay, good. All right, fair enough. Thank you. Okay, and then explanation. When a person spends so much time each day chatting with acquaintances that they ignore spending time. Now here, I don't want to repeat family, right? So I go into more detail. And the way I do that is I go, okay, well, what is family, right? So spouse, children. They ignore spending time with their spouse, children, or parents, and responsibilities like house chores. This, not will, right? I told you don't use will because it's true now, it's true in the past. This has a negative consequence. Okay? So when a person spends so much time each day chatting with acquaintances that they ignore spending time, now spending so much time, let's simplify, being with their spouse, children, or parents, and responsibilities like house chores, this has a negative consequence on them and their loved ones. And then example, right? Okay. Fuang says not using will. Got it. Yes, avoid it. As soon as Fuang, so as soon as you feel yourself writing or typing the word will, stop yourself and go, do I really need it here? Can I use a different word or write with different grammars so that it makes more sense and my argument is stronger and I don't suddenly jump to the future? Okay. So this has a negative consequence on them and their loved ones, as it is often the case. Office workers, I'm going to go with the same kind of example, but in a different context as my body paragraph 1, because that creates strong linkage, okay, between my comments. So as it is often the case, office workers choose to go for a drink after work with their colleagues rather than heading straight home and playing games with their children. Okay, now this isn't enough yet to understand the negative. So instead of a connecting concluding sentence, because I don't really need a connecting concluding sentence to the conclusion, the reason for that is the conclusion in itself is a conclusion and a connection of the whole essay, right? So here, rather than that, I need to add a bit more clarity, okay? This creates a disconnect with children and can result in depression and conflict. Okay? All right. So look at this last sentence. This creates a disconnect with children and can result in depression and conflict. If I want to make this last sentence stronger, what word can I remove? Okay. Alexi says, will is for babies. No, not necessarily, Alexi. It's just, it's people learn it, right? We don't know that. Okay, Alexi says can, yes. Okay, very good. So, and then of course, because I removed the word can, I need to put an S on result, right? Very good, everybody got that. So this creates a disconnect with children and results in depression and conflict. Notice how omitting those words that weaken the argument make it that much stronger, right? Okay, very nice. Okay, a lot of you got that. Okay, conclusion. Now in the IELTS, for the conclusion, just write in conclusion. Okay, so in conclusion, although the benefits of spending much time with peers include knowledge and pride, the disadvantages are poor family relationships, and incomplete responsibilities. Okay, all right, so that's my points restated, okay? Therefore, and this is my argument that we can intrinsically get from the essay. So therefore, a person should find balance between fraternizing with friends and spending time with kin. Okay, kin is also family. It's another way spending time with kin. And then the take-home message. In this way, they can enjoy the highest quality of life. Okay? Notice how that last sentence, the take-home message, it comes back to the hook, right? Okay. All right, everybody. So there is the completed essay, roughly about 310 words or so. Okay. Band 8, Band 9 essays, they're closer to the 300, 320 word mark for sure. That's not just me saying it. That's all of the examiners that we work with, many of them. All of them saying it. Okay. All right. So there it is. There you have it. There's the full essay. I recommend that you do your writing. You can send your writing by email for a free band score estimate, everyone, to our awesome coworkers and colleagues that I hang out with every day. No. But you can send your essays to Adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com for a free band score estimate. Okay, students? All right, I'm going to post this essay right after the next class into the YouTube community posts. Okay, so you'll be able to see it there. So come back and check the YouTube community post. I'll put the question and the full essay in there. Okay. Alexi says, that's an awesome essay. See you later. Alexi, in 30 minutes, I've got listening part 1 and part 2. Students, check out the websites for a lot more information and interactive courses for writing these different elements of the Task 2 essay, okay? The course is available at aehelp.com for academic IELTS. As soon as you click this big red button that's just right above my head there. And it is also available for general IELTS at gieltshelp.com here, okay? So click those big red buttons to get access to the premium IELTS package. Again, it's a one-time payment, lifetime access. aehelp.com. gieltshelp.com. Chen, Sarah, thank you for moderating and contributing. Hopefully I see you in the next class. Chayani, Silviana, Fuang, Bogdan, Alexi, Philo, and all of our other lovely members, thank you for your support. Hopefully I will see you in 30 minutes for listening. Part 1, part 2, practice and strategy. Thanks everyone for spending your time with me. And I will see you soon. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. Bye for now, everyone.